Let's talk about some injury updates here, Will. So the Mets are dealing with multiple injuries right now. I'm going to go through a few names, and I'd like for you to give us the latest on what you're hearing from these players. So the first name is Francisco Alvarez. What's the latest?
Well, Francisco Alvarez started a rehab assignment last night in Port St. Lucie, played 5 innings. He has to sort of show us that he could do that for 9 innings, probably multiple back-to-back days before the Mets consider him a player for them. But he's a fast healer. He always has been. He's had these injuries in the past where he has beaten timelines and shown us that he could heal a lot quicker than the average person. So it's a good sign that he's already at a rehab assignment. It's just probably going to take a little bit more time for him to get back to the Mets.
Yeah, can't wait to have him back. Next guy up, Sean Manaea. Will, what are you hearing?
Yeah, unfortunately for Manaea, he suffered a setback in his road to recovery from that spring training injury. It was that oblique issue that he had, and unfortunately for him, he sort of re-aggravated it a little bit and needed to be shut down for 2 weeks. That's what Carlos Mendoza said about a week ago. So he still has some time before he's even throwing. And after that, he needs to pretty much go a full stretch of spring training to build back up to become a player for the Mets. So he's looking at still a lengthy period of time before he's a contributor here and somebody that the Mets can count on, unfortunately, because he had that injury right at the wrong time of spring training where he wasn't even able to make a spring training start. So he has to really build up to get back to that level.
Yeah, hoping for a speedy return for him. Next guy up is Luis Torrens. Will.
Yeah, Torrens has been really a revelation for this team, really ever since they picked him up from the Yankees for like 100 grand in that in that deal last year, and it really helped them turn things around last season. And he got off to such a terrific start. Such a good guy to be around in the clubhouse as well. But he had that forearm issue. The Mets sent him for an MRI after he needed some time, a little bit more time than they originally thought. But the MRI showed up negative, which is a positive for them. It showed that there was nothing else wrong with it aside from bruising. So that's a good thing. He still didn't start or play in Wednesday's game. That was sort of expected after the MRI. They were trying to get him through this stretch where they had the Wednesday game plus the day off today to kind of get him to the weekend series. And hopefully they're expecting him to be in the lineup for that series.
Okay, good to hear. Last guy for you, Jeff McNeil. What's the latest?
Yeah, McNeil will soon be joining Francisco Alvarez if he isn't already in these rehab games. It's a little bit of an extended spring training for McNeil too, because he again had that injury early on in spring training, wasn't able to get into too many games himself. So he's going to work his way back. These oblique injuries can be tricky, so they're not going to accelerate it too much. I think that they're going to be a little bit cautious here. But it's somebody that they need because of that second base situation. They've gotten the least production as far as OPS goes in the entire major leagues at second base. And so Jeff McNeil, when he returns, he should be a boost. But they're not going to necessarily rush him back either. He has to show that he could, again, similar to Alvarez, though not quite as much with him being a catcher, but he has to show that he could play in some games and that he doesn't need that break right away. Otherwise, there's really no point in rushing the guy.